let's hit the right, share my screen. I think that's it. I think I'm just in the wrong window. Yes, I am. I am on YouTube. Right, so can everybody see my screen? Oh, use the chat.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Right, I'm just going to move that over there. And if you do come up with any questions as we go, if you want to pop them in the chat box, then I can answer them as we go. Or what we'll do is a bit of a Q&A at the end as well. So this is my test account, which I test everything through. So this is the view that I see. So you guys are inputting your data every time, like every day. This is the view I see. So when I'm going in to do a bit of a stalk on a Wednesday, I'm doing a high level overview like this. So I want to see, have you logged every single day? I don't know why I've called every day Monday. Just ignore the fact that I've called every day Monday. It's because I tried to do it forward for the week, and it obviously doesn't like you to do a day ahead of what we're actually in, but I just did the whole lot this afternoon. So I'm looking at that. Have you logged every single day? Where are you at with your calories? So I'm just doing this based on 1500. You'll all be on different macros and calorie splits. That's absolutely fine. Some of you, this may be, I can't remember whose I actually pinched this from, but like this will be the odd one of yous. But 1500 calories, I'm looking to see, are you within that? Are you over that? Where are you at? Then I'm looking at the protein to see, are you round about hitting that protein number, or are you miles off? Where are you at with the protein? The fats again, and the same with the carbs. So I'm just looking for that picture on a Wednesday to see who's doing what and to pull anybody up on it. I'm also looking for this completed status. Many of you will have had a screenshot from me saying, this is not marked as complete. Please, can you close it off at the end of every day? The reason why I'm doing that is because I want to know that when you have your last bit of food for the day, you are mindfully closing it out and you are going, right, that's it for me. I am done. That's me closed. What I don't want is for people to be like continuing to eat and then it just doesn't show as completed, and then I don't know if that is the genuine full picture for that day or not. So it's just to get really mindfully aware of going, okay, last bit of food, that's me done. So that's kind of the overall picture that I'm looking for. Now what I'm going to do, I will click in. Oh, sugar lumps, no, I didn't want to do that. But what I'll also do, I won't do it now, otherwise I'll break it. I will, if you do your check-in on a Thursday, I will adjust it Thursday to Thursday. If you do it on a Friday, I'll adjust it Friday to Friday. So I'm looking for that full week's picture, including a weekend, to make sure that things aren't going tits up at a weekend, or do you know what I mean? To make sure things aren't wildly off. So meal one. Now, I typically trade, this does look very real life for me, not today. I've been living on crackers because I'm not very well. But normally this is the kind of thing that I would be consuming. So I train quite early in the morning. Now, it's really, really important when it comes to weightlifting that you have some level of carbohydrates in your system. Now, depending on when you train, depends on what that should look like. So for me, it's quite early. Therefore, I don't want to smash like a spag bol or a giant chili or something because it's like 7 a.m. Do you know what I mean? So when people say, I struggle to eat first thing in the morning, just something. We want to get our metabolisms kicked in and already working for us super early in the morning. The longer you stay in that fasted state, your metabolism is still kind of asleep. We want to wake it up. We want to give it that spike, but we also want to use those carbs to do our lifting. We directly want to burn that energy into the cause of what we're doing. Now, if you train later in the day or in the evening, you want to think about your digestion. So I want fast digesting carbs like a banana or a Rice Krispie Squares. That's absolutely fine. I'm fine with either of those things. But let's say I trained at 6 p.m. in the evening, then what you actually want to do is make sure that you're having slower digesting carbs, maybe around 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so that that energy is readily available and already broken down by the time you're lifting without giving yourself a stitch or without feeling like you're going to throw up. So it's about that consideration of when you train and what type of carbs you're looking to get into your system. So for me, like I say, a banana is absolutely fine, unless I'm heavy lifting, like mega heavy, then I might want more than that. So like heavy squats, deadlifts, like the big we call it a big CNS lift, so like a central nervous system taxing lift, where it's taking a lot out of your energy. That's when you probably want to find that you have a bit more. The other thing you can do is have a lot the night before as well. So if I knew I was deadlifting tomorrow, I might make sure that I've got quite a decent portion of carbs in my meal the night before, because some of that's still going to be in my system. So it's just about working out what's right for you and around your training. And again, if anybody wants any more support on that, let me know. Less important for men, really fucking important for women. We do not train fasted. We do not do it, guys. And the reason for that is because your body will actually hold on to the fat cells and it'll produce more of the stress hormone, which is actually going to stop you from dropping body fat. And that's the one thing we want to be burning, not storing. So you do not train fasted. Second meal of the day. So this is the other thing. Notice how I'm breaking up my meals. I'm not just putting one long fuck off list. That's really hard for me to assess what you're actually having and when. I actually want to see the breakups of the different meals that you guys are consuming. So meal 2, I'm fucking busy. I don't have time to sit and eat breakfast like a normal human being. I'm always on the go. I'm always working. And I don't really like having a proper breakfast, so to speak. So I literally, within 30 minutes of coming back from the gym, I will have a lot more carbs. Again, I need to replenish what I've just used. But you want to be doing this. Thomas, if you could make any more noise, that'd be wonderful. If you yeah, you want to get those carbs back into your system, and ideally you kind of want to be getting that protein in around 30 minutes after you've trained, for the reason being, again, we want to go back into like repairing the muscles, which that protein synthesis is going to do. So I just have, I don't know why it's spelt wrong, I didn't spell that, I just scan it in. The Protein Works protein powder. I have porridge oats. It's worth noting as well at this point, like I've got about 3 different packs of porridge oats and they all have completely different calorie data. So some are actually really, really high and some are actually quite low. So if you're in a deficit, start getting into the habit of reading labels when you go shopping. Just because something is labeled as low fat does not mean that it actually is. It's just marketing. And like, there's a good example in Morrison's. You can look at a salad cream that's normal, which is about 26 calories per 15 mil. Then you can look at a low fat salad cream, which is about 46 calories, and it's titled low fat. It's actually impossible to be lower in fat if it's higher in calories. That completely goes against how calories and macros actually work. But again, just worth noting. So have a look at all of your labels, get really, really good at understanding what's what when you're doing your supermarket shop. I use almond milk because at this point, I'm not really using real milk for the protein. I'm actually looking for a lower calorie substitution. So I like almond milk. It could be soya milk. It could be any of those kind of options, unsweetened, to make sure that there's no added sugar inside of them. And I might put a bit of honey in it for a little bit of sweetness. Honey, or any condiment for that matter, I see people put things like 5 grams of something in as a condiment. They had 5 grams of mayo. I'm like, you didn't fucking have 5 grams of mayo. 5 grams of mayo is about my little fingernail. If anyone is having 5 fucking grams of mayo, you're not. And I can see that again a mile off. And that's the kind of thing, the devil in the detail, that I'm looking for. Now, 20 grams of honey is about 1 flat tablespoon of honey. That's it. That is literally it. So get really, really savvy with your measuring when it comes to tracking, because I can see it when I'm looking through it. Then I've gone on to meal 3. So this is my lunchtime meal at this point. So it's Nourish pasta. They've actually stopped fucking selling this, which really, it was really good. It aggravates me. It's a really high protein pasta. You can get an Aldi equivalent now, but it is a little bit mushier. But again, if you want that extra protein hit, that's in there. I would weigh that out. So I would physically weigh out, and I think it was Siobhan that asked me the other day whether it's the dry weight or the cooked weight. I would just do the pre-cooked weight just to keep my life really straightforward, because that's just the easiest way to do it. And let's be honest, we want this to be as straightforward as we can. Tuna, really good bang for your buck. If you're really low on protein, like I'm quite happy to just smash a tin of tuna, no bother, just literally out of the tin, like some, like, do you know what I mean? I don't know, it feels a bit pikey, but there you go. But it's really, really good for low calorie, really high protein. Make sure it's in brine, not in oil, because oil is a fat. And again, it's going to push your macros up. Garden peas, really good for protein, really easy. Frozen veg, guys. Frozen veg, really fucking easy to just grab it out of the freezer, cook it up. You can even do it in bulk and then like split it into different meals. But notice how I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting my veggies. They're my volume foods, really low bang for your buck in terms of calories. And I'm trying to get them in where I can. Lighter than light mayonnaise. That's probably the lightest one that you can buy that's on the market. Something like that, I would actually quite happily eat without mayo, but I put that in so you guys could see how it can go in. If you want to spread out your mayonnaise further like that, I would make the pasta, the tuna, and the garden peas. I don't like sweet corn, but you could have it with sweet corn. I just don't like it. But chuck it all in your tin, in your box, whatever you're eating it in, put your mayo in, and then just add a bit of water to spread it out. So you feel like it's like wetting up your food if you feel like you need it. Sunflower oil. So this is, I'm pretty sure that's Aldi's cheap version. It's whatever I've scanned in the cupboard, but it is fry light. Like if anybody here who's in a calorie deficit and you're struggling on calories and you're using things like olive oil, coconut oil, all of these things are exceptionally high in calories. So you probably want to make the switch to fry light. Now I've put 10 sprays in. It's really easy to track that. And I've just put that onto my potatoes. I'm a little bit posh when it comes to my potatoes. I don't like just anything, so I'm going for those Jersey Royals. They just hit better, I think. So I'm just parboiling them, chucking them in the air fryer, spraying them on, flicking them around halfway, and they come out beautiful roast potatoes. Potatoes, by the way, are probably the best bang for your buck when it comes to calories and a carbohydrate source. If you look at the volume that you can get with potatoes versus rice versus couscous versus all of the other foods out there that are carbs, potatoes, you're going to feel like you can't believe how many you've got on your plate. And again, as long as they're not cooked in goose fat oil or something crazy, then they're going to go a long way calorie wise. Like that's literally 179 calories for a lot of potatoes there. Turkey breast steaks. Now, obviously, you can switch some of this stuff out for vegan, vegetarian options. But turkey breast steaks, turkey, like, or white meat in general, is usually about 2 to 5% fat, which is really, really low as well. So turkey breast, mega cheap. Although you used to get 4 in a pack, you now only get 3. So they're definitely diddling us out a little bit there, gang. But they are really, really good, and they're tasty. I just fry them off in a pan, and they're really, really tasty. And if you've got a non-stick pan, or chuck a bit of water in, you don't even need any oil. Vegetables, again, I'm getting that veggies in. Salad cream, again, salad cream's really low. You can definitely get one for less than 43 calories as well. And then I just put mini cheddars in because I was sitting eating my very beige food today, and I thought, yeah, that's the kind of thing I would have. So I'm still trying to get something in there that I enjoy as well. So that came just under my calories. Now, the reason I personally do it this way, and the choice is yours, I do like a good cup of tea, and I don't drink my tea black. I will have a splash of milk. I do like a strong builder's tea, but I'm quite happy to come 50 to 100 calories underneath my allowance, just to make sure that anything that I've not added in throughout the day, like squash, has got calories in it. Cup of tea with a bit of milk, there's some calories in it, but it's at such a negligible amount. I'm too lazy to track every single thing. You guys can do that, but you can just take off 50 to 100 calories to allow for any slight bits that you may have neglected. You can see how I've spread my protein out throughout the day as well. So meal 1, I've got my protein powder. So I've got nearly 40 grams of protein in that first proper feed of the day. Meal 2, almost another 40 grams of protein in that, meal 3. Meal 4, that's a high protein meal. So it's about, and in an ideal world, you probably spread it out even more than I have there. But if you can think 30 to 40 grams of protein with pretty much every meal throughout the day, at least within those 3 meals, then that is going to be good. Now, I might have set you a higher protein target, but the reason for that is because most people miss it. So if I set it slightly higher, you're probably likely to actually hit where you need to be. If I set it where you need to hit, you're probably going to end up slightly underneath. But usually, in terms of protein, if you take your body weight in kilos and then you then take your protein in grams, we're aiming for between 1 to 1.5 is absolutely fine. Usually, as long as, unless you're like bodybuilding or something. So if you weigh 100 kilos, you want 100 to 150 grams of protein. But this is something a lot of people, when they come into the program, they need to kind of get time to learn and go through the motions. And that's absolutely fine. Carbs, again, I'm not cutting them out. I'm getting plenty of carbs. I've gone slightly over on my carbs and slightly under on my fat. That's okay. I don't actually consume a huge amount of fat, and that's just personal preference. You have the fat if you want to use it. If you like a good sauce, if you like a good condiment, if you have more milk and things like that, or cheese, they're going to have a higher fat content. That's absolutely fine. It's just I personally don't tend to opt for as much fat. But it is just also worth noting, the reason we do a high protein diet and a low fat diet, protein is a muscle process. We want to keep hold of our muscle in deficit, and we also want to be building it while we're in the gym. So that's a protein piece. Carbs are your energy source, so we want them in our body. Fats are really good for hormonal function. So we obviously want fats in there, but fats are significantly, they're over double the number of calories as the equivalence of the same amount in grammage as what you would get for protein and carbs. So they're 4 calories each, whereas fats are 9 calories each. So it's over double. So you're not going to feel like, so when some of you are going, I've run out of calories, if your fat's really high, that's where it's going. So it's just a case of looking at it going, can I bring my fats down a little bit and switch them into protein and carbs? And that's usually one of the reasons why a lot of people end up putting weight on in the first place, because they just don't realize the amount of fat that they might be consuming in a day. There's no judgment. It's just the way that it is. So I'll show you through day 2, which is again another nice looking day. So I mentioned I do like a good Rice Krispie square, because again, you can still allow for things that you enjoy here. We want kind of 80-20 rule, 80% whole foods and 20% should be some of the things that you personally just enjoy. I do like a good crumpet. Again, I noticed the other day when I did my shopping, Warburton's were lower calories than the Aldi version. So I just paid a tiny bit more to get the real deal, I guess, because they were just lowering calories, and I was happy with that. Poached eggs, I do love a good poached egg as well. So again, 2 poached eggs when I don't drop them all over the fucking oven trying to make them. But and I wouldn't have any condiment with this, or butter, I should say. I wouldn't have any butter with it, because as long as I make my eggs runny, I'm going to get that wet feeling to it. And I just chucked in a little bit of ham, again, just to bring that protein up a little bit. And not too high on calories either. So that's meal 1 and 2. Lunch, I do enjoy a good sandwich thin. So I'm assuming a lot of you have come across them. They do them in all supermarkets, but it's essentially a square flat piece of bread. You can get them in burger thins, you can get them in the normal thins, you can get high protein thins, you can literally, they come in so many different ways now. Like, people are really making the most of people being in a calorie deficit. So you've got a lot of options there. Salmon, again, any fish like that is going to be really high in protein, so it's obviously going to be good. Light cream cheese by Philadelphia, they do a lighter than light one. I just didn't have it in, so I couldn't scan it, I couldn't find it, but they do have a slightly lighter one. But again, that's kind of bringing in your fats there as well. Notice the cucumber, cherry tomatoes, it's just filling up my plate. That volume food again, and they're 8 calories for 100 grams and 18 calories for 100 grams. So again, you're getting that stretch out of feeling like you've got more on your plate than you actually do. Prawns for dinner, we do live on this as well in a cut. So we make a spicy prawn stew, which is basically just loads of spices. I don't track spices, I'll be honest. There's no calories in your garlic. There's no calories in like paprika, none of that. So all of that is in there for the flavor, but I just don't track it. Then I chuck in tinned tomatoes, chuck in the prawns, let it all cook off, add in the peas at the end. Hey presto, with a bit of couscous, then that's a full dish. really, really good. And again, that whole dish is like 368 calories. Now, I am actually not cutting on 1500 calories for complete transparency. I'm cutting on 2300 calories, so I would definitely be throwing some garlic bread in there. But low fat garlic bread, even just the same, do you know what I mean? And just enjoying the food. But I can do that because I've been training and I've got a high muscle to fat ratio, and your muscle burns significantly more calories. It's like 7 times more calories, the more muscle you've got on your frame than the equivalence of fat. So again, that's why it's really good to drop the body fat, build up the muscle. And eventually then you guys can diet on really high calories as well. We just have to get to that point. And then meal 5, there was a little bit of room, so I would just have some Faye or 0% fat Greek yogurt for those who don't know the brand Faye, and then just some straws. Again, I could have put a little bit of honey on there, something just to sweeten it up if I wanted to. So I'm still under that calorie allowance. I'm over on carbs, under on fat again, shock. Okay, it's just how I live my life. And my protein goal, I'm still like, I weigh 60 kilos for reference, so I'm actually at nearly double my body weight in protein. But it wouldn't need to be that high. So I could have brought down the protein and raised up the fats if I wanted to. It's just I'm very used to eating a high protein diet. So that's kind of an overview of a couple of really good days. Now, Wednesday, I deliberately haven't tracked. I don't really want to see that, guys. I would actually rather, even if you hit that fuck it button, even if, I don't know, the end of the world is about to swallow you up, I'd actually really rather you keep tracking, because what it's doing is holding you accountable. When you think, oh, I've had a really shitty morning, you know what? I'm now going to have a chippy lunch. I'm going to have a takeaway dinner. I'm going to go McDonald's. I'm going to do that. Track it. Because one, it allows us to have complete transparency. So when you come to check in and your body weight is exactly the same as what it was the week before, and you're wondering why the scales haven't moved, we can actually have the accountability to go, okay, well, that's why. And as long as then I can educate you on that, then it's just full transparency on your guys' part to get the most out of the process, to understand where it's happened. Or you might have dropped a little bit, but with that data, I can 100% accurately track exactly where your weight should be the following week. Like I can do that with the data, like data over drama. Do you know what I mean? If I don't have the data, I've got nothing to work on, but at least I can educate you on it. But it is going to make you think, fuck, I've just had 3,000 calories. I probably ought to rein it in a little bit. And I realize you're probably not in the mindset of wanting to do that if you want to hit the fuck it button. But it's just a really good learning exercise to do and go, actually, yeah, I really went over there, didn't I? I had a proper binge. And again, if you do, you do. Like, we can address that when we get to it. Do you know, like, this is just all about the process and the journey and the education. Thursday, I mean, in this instance, I can guarantee you guys wouldn't have closed this day off, but I want you to envision Thursday has already passed and 816 calories. Now, I don't want to see anybody that I've set 1,500 calories to, Vicky, closing out their days on like 816. I just don't want to see it. But the other thing is, I don't want you to forget to track halfway through the day, or just not come back to it at any point, or just leave it out altogether, because it probably tells me that something happened, or there was a lapse in organization, or there was a lapse in what you did. I can guarantee when I see those half-filled days that nobody did actually close out on 816 calories. It's just something happened. And again, if that something happened, we can address it. We can work on that. What was it? Why didn't you track that day? Like it's not about judgment. It's not about like shaming you. It's about educating you on what we're doing. And I know it gets boring, guys. I know I track too. Like, I'm in a deficit. It does get fucking boring, but the results are done in the boring. That's where it happens. That's why we want to do it. Right. Whose birthday is it? Oh, happy birthday, Mandy. I feel sick due to having been out for a meal for my birthday, within calories, but feel full, I think that says. I mean, it's your fucking birthday, man. Jesus. Is she still on? Yeah, she is on. Right. Does anybody have any questions at this point on anything I've just said? If you do, just unmute yourselves and yeah, just ask away.
So I had a situation the other day.
Actually,
I ended up going to a friend's house and we ended up having an Indian takeaway, which it was just over the weekend. It was one of those things. But going on and then because I've obviously not made that meal myself,
yeah,
then tracking that becomes a bit of a nightmare. And I was on the app, like trying my hardest to figure out how to do it. So what I ended up doing was finding something as close as I could get just to give me an idea of
yeah.
when I was. When you're in that situation, is that the best way to do it, would you
I
say?
would say so, yeah. I mean, the
Mm.
reality is we don't know. We don't know. Like an Indian takeaway, it's going to be really high in oil. I mean, and it is what it is. You had a takeaway. Do you know what I mean? And I would also, like I say, I don't want everyone to cut out takeaways for the rest of the time. Like some of the time, you're going to have a takeaway or you're going to fall into McDonald's do you know what I mean? This is real life and we can't track it. So it could well reflect in your check-in next week. We just have to wait up and see. It is what it is. But what I would rather people do is make that choice and be good with it. Like rather than punishing yourself and thinking, oh fuck, I really wish I didn't do that, or I like throw the baby out with the bathwater. Now I've had that. Now I might as well fuck up the rest of the week. Isolate it, make your choice, move on from it, and be good with that. And just be okay. Like we are human beings. This is why I say we never aim for perfection, but that is the best you could do in that situation. So you can either leave it blank and just put a note in, because I get to see the notes that you guys write as well, and just say, I had a takeaway. I don't know the calories. Do you know what I mean? This is what I had for the rest of the day. And then I had a takeaway. Or as you've done, try and do the best that you can within what you can find in the app. But yeah, if we don't cook it then, or we can't scan it, then it's really tricky to do that. But it is what it is, Brandon.
Cool. All right, cool. That makes sense.
Does anybody else have any?
Yeah.
Siobhan,
Sorry.
fire away.
Yeah. What happens if you're consistently over on your protein?
It's not the end of the world. So I mean, I would say it more depends on how you feel, as in if you're always really over, you could rein in the protein a little bit and switch it for carbs. So if you're feeling like absolutely ravenous still, it might well be that the protein's not filling you up because you do need a bit more carbohydrate. So it's more if one's really high, the other's really low. I just don't want to see anybody cutting out carbs or fats altogether. But if
No.
you've still got a reasonable balance, you can't OD on protein. Do you know what I mean? But it could well be that you just reduce the portion of protein a little bit. So like those turkey breast steaks, I was over, I think, on protein that day. I could have quite easily, that would have been for two steaks. I could have had one and a half. Do you know what I mean? And then I could have just had more of something else throughout the day. But as long as if you're happy with what you're eating, there's no harm in being, normally it's the other way. People are nowhere near their protein goals. So it's actually quite nice when you are like doing really well on the protein, but
Okay.
just have a play around with it and see whether
Cool.
you actually feel like it's problematic for you to be that high on protein, or actually if you feel okay in yourself and you actually feel like you're not cutting out any of the other macros, then I don't personally see a problem with it.
Cool. Thank you.
I'd rather people be too high than too low. We're keeping Vic up, so Joe, have you got a question? Did you unmute then yet?
Yes, please. I'm finding as I'm getting through the day that I've hit my calories, I've hit my carbs, my fat, and obviously my protein's still really low.
Yeah.
So what can I munch on that's gonna give me the protein, apart from like raw steak or something? But I'm not a carnivore like that. But I want to not increase my calories. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So you want like, and to be honest, like I say, proteins, it may well be that you need to bring the fats down a little bit and bring those proteins up and kind of start, or like go into zero fat products, or whether it like you can get Greek yogurt at up to 20% fat, or you can get it down at 5%. So it's about switching that back a little bit. But
Okay.
it's mostly meats, fishes, and you're not vegetarian or vegan, are you? No. So is there I mean, do you find that actually you don't have a lot of meat in your natural diet or a lot of fish in your natural diet?
I like this afternoon had a prawn sandwich, and I try and have with fish or meat in the evening with vegetables, that kind of thing. I'm trying to throw it in there. Plus, I've got my protein pots from Aldi and the whey protein powder. So I'm kind of trying to throw. So I've been experimenting the last couple of days. I find if I have sort of the protein shake, protein pots, something like a tin of tuna with a bit of salad cream in it earlier in the day, then I'm kind of getting on the right track. But sometimes if it kind of falls and I'm then trying to sort of chase my tail with it,
That's it. It's that spreading it out throughout the day, isn't it? That sounds like more of trying to be mindful to go, right, I need to have some form of protein in my breakfast, be it the protein powder or be it one of the protein yogurts or something with protein in that you're quite happy to include within your breakfast. Like you can put Greek yogurt in with some porridge oats instead of almond milk or anything like that. You can make the overnight oats with it. You can make your overnight oats with protein powder or do it like I do, blitz it in the blender, chug it back and it's gone. Don't even know I had it, but it's disappeared. But it's that I would probably say trying to get your protein powder in the morning, something in again for lunch. So that might be your fish or it might be your meat or your prawns, and then something in again for dinner. So that's where it's like the turkey steaks or real steak or mince meat, or again, it might be salmon. I think I've seen you eat salmon before. So something like that. And then maybe one of your protein yogurt pots for like dessert, or for it might be a mid-afternoon thing that you quite like to have it for. So we definitely do eat a lot of protein pouches, a lot of protein yogurts, a lot of all of that. Like we couldn't buy any in Aldi the other day. I was gutted. But this is it. It's just try and think mindfully about spreading it out throughout the day. And if you are really under, then yeah, that tuna, just eating it exactly as you've said, that's going to get a win immediately. You're already going to get like 25-30 grams more protein in, and that probably would just close out your day nicely.
Okay, thank you.
Shall we have a look at yours, Joe? Were you quite happy for me to share?
Yeah, no worries.
Let's have a look. Right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second just while I bring up Joe's account, just because, like I said, I don't want any of the data coming up. All right, let me get you. Let's have a look. Right, so I just need to bring back the dates a moment. So we'll just do, what's the date today? There you go, we'll do it. Oh, sugar lumps. Oh, it's because it's July, wasn't it? It goes from July into... Right, have I done that? Yeah, apply. Right, we'll have a look. Right, let me find you all. Reshare. Share. Oh God, you don't want to see that screen. Right. Right, we are in Joe's. So what have we got? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So immediately tick, because we do have every single day. Protein I can see is a little bit on the low side, but it's not crazy low. It is just one more bit of protein in, just one more place, isn't it? That is literally it. Just an extra 25 grams. If we can get you to, I mean, you're nearly at 100 on Friday, nearly at 100 on Saturday. So you're not crazy far out on a lot of the days, but then like Sunday was a little bit lower. Fats, yeah, your fats are slightly higher, aren't they? Thursday, 129.4. You had a lot of fat on what did you do on Thursday, Joe? You went over, wildly over. What happened on Thursday?
I think I went eating mess that I made.
Okay.
Double cream.
Yeah, that's probably gonna do it. So that's not I'm assuming you don't eat a mess like every week, do you?
We just had some strawberries over and some raspberries out the garden. It's like, yeah, we'll launch that in.
Next time, put them in with some Greek yogurt so you can still enjoy them, but without like suddenly just, yeah, because that's what's happened there. That fat has gone like through the roof, which has taken your calories through the roof. But again, I appreciate the fact you've tracked it, and I can appreciate the fact that now you can see that for yourself. So interestingly, Friday, Yeah, Friday was your weigh-in day and you hadn't lost. That's why. And it will just be water weight. Like, you haven't suddenly put on a load of fat from going from 14 to 2100 calories, but that water weight will have been hanging on from you going over your calories the day before. So that's what's actually happened there. So you can see that direct correlation. Whereas if you stick with what you've done Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday so far this week, if you stick on plan with that, then you will see a drop this week on the scales. That water weight will have it will start to reside. I imagine probably by tomorrow the weighing scales will be re-regulated and then you'll be back on track again. So yeah, so that's interesting to see. But I like the fact you've tracked it for full accountability, but that's why that direct correlation. If there was a few more days between you doing that and the weigh-in, you would have seen the drop, but it's just too soon from like that actual place. So that's what's gone on there. So let's just have a look. So you were over on Saturday. So let's have a look. So that looks like it was more carbs that you were over on Saturday. So Lancashire tea. Are you marking your tea bags?
No, I buy Lancashire tea.
What do you mean though?
Well, it's like Yorkshire tea, but it's Lancashire tea.
But is that the tea bag?
Yeah.
So if you ever find, guys, that anything comes back with 0 calories, and God bless you, Joe, I fucking love this, but don't track it. If it's 0 calories, all you're doing is consuming your time, which is great. It's great to
I've just been putting everything in, so like
and I
tea,
love that.
sugar, milk, sauces, everything.
Absolutely. But this is it. If you notice it say 0 calories, then I would just stop doing it for that. Like I say, garlic and your herbs and your spices, there's no calories to them. So you can just save yourself a little bit of time. But I do love the fact that that is how serious, for anyone that's not taking it as seriously as Joe, that is how serious, though, that you can take this process and literally go all in on that accountability. And that's incredible. Do you know what I mean? So I advocate that. I love that. The milk, yeah, that's good. Broccoli, tomato, cheese, quiche by Aldi. So that is, I mean, it's an interesting breakfast. I mean,
Oh, that was like a late breakfast. I was kind of being
like
rushed around like a Luna. That's kind of like 10:30.
Yeah, that's it. So did you weigh that or did you guesstimate? How did you work out the 100 grams for that quiche?
Oh, I weigh everything. Everything goes on my little scales. I'm just a saddo. Everything.
I didn't doubt you for a second there.
I tear it, I shove it in.
Absolutely. And this is it. And then the protein yogurt. So you're having that quite early in the day, which is good. So we've already got nearly 30 grams of protein, which is good. 400 calories for the sake of argument, 37, 30. So yeah, I mean, it's a nice decent breakfast.
I don't know why rhinos. I'm not drinking rhino, like the animal. It's Ribena, but that's what it scans as.
As long as the data's right, then because I scan things and go, what the fuck is that? What is that? But sometimes it can be like the brand name, or like, especially with Aldi and places like that, you see it quite a lot where they may have called it one thing on the packaging, but it's still the original like manufacturer's name, and it can be a bit like that.
I scanned something from Aldi the other day and it came up by Asda, and I'm like, okay.
So Ribena, rhinos, I would switch that right out immediately because that's 86 calories and you're just having a drink. That's liquid calories, and that's just,
okay.
I would immediately switch that to a very similar squash that you can, and probably not a branded one. It's probably going to cut down on the cost of living as well, things like that. But try and aim for something that's like sugar-free. That's not sugar-free. That's really high in sugar. So take that one immediately away. Unless that's not accurate, because I don't know how it's 21.6 carbs, but I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I must admit, I don't drink Ribena, but I would switch that out for something else.
Okay.
Caramel crunch bar. So there's a bit of snack in here, isn't there? So did you have carrots, just raw carrots, I'm going to assume, just chomping on some carrots? Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, so we've got a snack there. We've got a Lucozade again. That's one, do away with it. We don't need the Lucozade. And I appreciate these things are like, I've got Lucozade today because I've got a bad stomach. But if you can just switch that, start drinking water, start getting into the water train as much as you can. That's it. That's it. There you go. So try and this is it. The Lucozade is again like that's like 150 odd calories. There's just no purpose to that one. So I would definitely take that out. More Lucozade. Where's the fucking food here? All I'm getting is cups of tea and
Well,
Lucozade.
because
Were you poorly?
I was conscious on how much I'd eaten throughout the day, and my calories were like woo. So it's
So
like,
you
oh
haven't
crap.
actually pretty much eaten anything. You've just got it all in drinks. So you must have had. So you've got a snack there. Even that caramel crunch bar is 200 calories. That's high for just this amount of food, isn't it? That could have easily been a decent portion of potatoes with carrots and then some meat or something. But yeah, your calories are just going on liquid at the minute. So that Lucozade times 2 because you've had it twice.
That
That
was just a bottle of it.
the Ribena, yeah, this is it. The Ribena and I mean, pork shoulder, that's probably going to be high in calories. Yeah, it is. That's it. So pork is a fatty meat. Lamb is a fatty meat. So try and switch those out for slightly kinder options. So things more like your chicken, your turkey, your fish, those white meats. You can eat the red meats as well when they're that kind of 5% fat. But I think with yours, it's just a bit more around the planning, a bit more around that, right? What am I doing in my food shop? What am I going to buy? What can I substitute some of these drinks with where you might still have a squash, but it's going to be sugar free and it might be 6 calories as opposed to like 150. So it's just that getting really dialed into eating like you know, the healthy food plate that I always show you guys, that there's none of that there, is there? There's not really a huge we haven't got the like organic protein source. We haven't really got that. I mean, there's carrots in there, but there's not really a great deal of vegetables in there. The meat you have chosen is slightly higher in fat. The quiche again, it's going to be a little bit more saturated in that sense. So it's just more about trying to bring it back to, you remember that meal you shared with me? Like, I don't even think you'd officially started, where it was like salmon, veg, and it might have been potatoes. I think it was potatoes. It's that sort of thing. Like, you do know what to do. I think it's just coming down to organization, planning, structuring, maybe even a bit of meal prep. I know you're not like a shift worker or anything like that, but maybe start to go, right, okay, I'm going to chuck on 6 chicken breasts. They're cooked. I'm going to chuck on a load of veg. They're cooked. Chuck on a load of potatoes. Right. That's a few of my lunches in a row now. Right now, I'm going to make some chili. Like, you've been seeing a lot of the ladies in the team share their chili. Like, that's another thing. It's a great, like, macro friendly option. So does that help, Joe? Does that, and I mean, I know we picked a random day, but does that give you a bit more guidance?
Oh, certainly does. Thank you.
No
I know
worries.
I know because Donald was at Knock Hill doing race recovery and I was on my own all day. And I was trying to do jobs and that's why it's kind of like, oh, throw that down my face. So yeah, I just need
That's
to
it. That planning to go, right, okay, when I'm doing my food shop, and if you've got more time to do certain bits of cooking earlier in the week or on certain days, then utilize that time, so then you don't then have to do it, especially if you're on your own. That is quite a big one, actually. When you're cooking on your own, it feels like a lot of fucking effort, doesn't it, to cook on your own? So then you start grabbing things, whereas actually it's still having that discipline to eat well, even if it's just for you.
because I'm a food technologist by trade and I should know better, I know.
Yeah, and it's fine, and this is it. And sometimes it's more about the accountability here, isn't it? And just going, right, okay, I know this. I do know this information. It's just right now I need to action it again. And all of your days won't look like this. I realize we picked out one random day. It probably threw you under the bus a little bit.
We had
God damn
chicken last
Thursday.
night.
This is it. I could guarantee if I did, then it would look a lot better. But I want to move on to somebody else. If anybody else wants to throw their hat in the ring. Siobhan, right, let's do it. Let me just stop my share. Oh, I'm back on screen. Let me just bring you up and oh, where am I doing? Siab Khan. That is what I'm going to type. Right. Where are we? There you go. Give me 2 seconds. Log. No, that is your workout log. Right.
I'm really sorry, but I'm gonna have to go.
Oh yeah, no worries, Mandy. Happy birthday!
Is that all right? Thanks.
What a
Bye.
great thing to do on your birthday.
Do you know what? I should be like size 8, shouldn't I? All these Zooms and that, I should be.
No, you're
Oh.
working on it, man. You're fucking working on it.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Have an amazing time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Right, hang on. Right, let me just bring you all back up. Screen share. Fancy coming to this on your birthday. Oh, I love it. Also, great dedication. Right, so let's have a look. Siobhan, let's have a look. So I brought up Thursday through to Monday. So you went out for dinner on the weekend, did you?
Yep.
How did that
Yep.
go?
It was hard.
It was really hard, but I tried not to like eat so much throughout the day and tried to save my calories for the one really big meal essentially. But yeah, it was okay. It was okay. I went way over, I feel, but
What
I
did
felt
you
like I made. Pardon?
What did you choose?
Lamb sander.
So yeah, high fat.
Yeah. High fat.
Yeah.
Mega high fat. It was bad. Yeah.
And what did it come with?
I had it on its own. Oh no,
Oh,
I had
okay.
rice with it. I had pilau rice with it.
All right,
but
okay,
I
yeah.
measured out 100 grams
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I was bad and I did take my scales to
Oh,
the
I
rest.
love this. Honestly, the commitment from you guys is insane. Like that is such an L thing to do, but I love the dedication to the cause. That's what we're here
I
for.
saw her put it in the group chat and that's why I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that actually. I'm going to do that.
If any of you guys start doing this, can you take a photo and send it in? Because I'm here for this life. I want to see it. I want to join in. I don't ever eat out because, well, we just don't have time. But I love this. I want to see it. Right. So Saturday, did you just give it your best shot then? Or did the menu have calories? Did you know what you were having?
So I did exactly, I'm sorry, I've forgotten his name, but I did exactly what he did. And I went on YouTube afterwards and picked like the most unhealthy option of lamb sander and put that in because I was like, if I did it, then I did it and I might as well just own up to it.
Yeah, and I love it. And this is it, fair enough. And we're just doing the best we can do with that kind of scenario. So that's fine. Did you have any alcohol? Any drinks?
No.
No, fabulous. So again, that's another, if you know your food's going to be super high, then trying to opt for low calorie drinks is also going to help you and to kind of go, right, okay, well, I don't need to have that. I'm having this, so I can park one thing in favor of another. And personally, I would always much rather have my calories through the food than the alcohol.
Yeah.
Right, let's drill in then. So Thursday looked like a banging day, actually. Friday, also a really good day, I'd say. It's slightly higher, but it's marginal, but you were slightly lower on that Thursday. I'm just having literally an overview. So Sunday, so did you try and bring your calories down a bit on Sunday as well?
Yeah. Try and counteract,
That's it. And again, remember guys, it goes across the whole week. So we're looking at those calories from the whole picture. So if we're checking in Thursday to Thursday, then that's the whole week that you've got to play with. So if you know you're doing something, drop them throughout the entire week. And then you can actually spread it out a little bit further and maybe not feel like you're suffering as much through one day. So protein was a little bit lower on Sunday.
Yeah, it was awful.
I mean, I'm not going to say that. It's not awful. It's still in the decent parameters, like 80 grams upwards. I feel like we can live with. It's when it's down at like Saturday, your protein was down at 43. That's But again, we know the kind of reasoning going on for that. Monday again. So that was what day was
today? That's today.
So you've already finished. So let's have a look at your Monday then. It looks pretty good. So I deliberately threw Joe under the bus because I wanted to see the worst, but you knew we were doing this today. So let's have a look at your today. So Satsuma's by Woolworths. Didn't that shop shut?
It's as I've scanned it. That's exactly what I've scanned. It's just come up by Woolworths. I think it's I think it registers Australian because that's what Rhino did in Australia.
That's fair enough. Yeah. Right. So we've got the high protein yogurt. We've got the granola. I know that one. Did you weigh that out? The granola?
Yeah, I weigh it out every day.
That's good. This is where, like, eyeballing things like granola, terrible idea, because that 22 grams looks like fuck all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You get it in your plate and you're like, oh,
Where's the rest of it?
Yeah. But you are doing a great thing there by also adding in the protein yogurt, by also adding in, I don't know what a full berry medley is. Is that just berries?
Yeah, frozen berries.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. So you're packing in your volume eating, and the frozen berries, they last, you know what I mean? It's a quick win. So that's a really nice breakfast idea, and I really like that. And again, you've already got nearly 20 grams of protein in, so that's good. Meal 2, so chicken breast, great. Tortilla wrap, yeah, great. Spreadable butter, yeah, that's hard to track with butter. Butter is, anything like that is difficult to understand if you bang on or not. It kind of is what it is, because unless you're going to put it all on the weighing scales and then add your butter and then, do you know what I mean, reset. So
I am that sad, sadly.
and I get it. I'm that sad as well, but I can also get it if people do have slightly more of a life than what we do. But I'm good with you,
I
Siobhan.
work from home, it's great.
This is again, and this is it. Some people don't have that luxury,
Yeah.
so it is different for every person. But
Yeah.
yeah, the tomatoes, I like to see that. You could probably have a bit more tomato, to be fair, because again, they're super low in calories.
Okay.
Meal 3. So you're a 3-mealer.
Yeah.
How do you feel in terms of your hunger levels throughout the day, with, because there's no real snacking in there, is there? It's just the solid meals.
Yeah.
Are you somebody that absolutely detests the idea of snacking? You don't want to do it because it's going to send you down a rabbit hole?
Yeah, I carry on eating. If I snack, I carry on. So I don't want to, yeah, I'm very structured with that.
So I would say a really good thing for us to do, and anyone in this situation, like, let's get like the first couple of months under your belt, and then we'll start introducing some snacks as we go, because then you can start to realize that they're not the enemy. It's okay, and you actually have more self-control than you realize. But we'll go enough of the way through the journey to build up your confidence around your food again, and then we'll start to introduce some of those bits back in so that you can feel confident. Because again, you're not, it's the same as never having a takeaway, never having a McDonald's, never having alcohol. These things are not real, and we have to eventually be able to move out of the process and go, okay, I'm good now. Do you know what I mean? I'm educated, I understand, I'm controlled, I'm not binging, like all of these things will build up over time. So that's really, that's good for me to know.
Cool.
So what did we have here? So we had some chicken breast with...
It's chicken breast stuffed with salami and cheese, basically, which sounds really unhealthy. And it was, technically.
No, I mean, it looks all right. Did you have no carbs with that?
Is it?
I can't see any.
Everything that's on there is what went into it.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like there's any real, I can't, so did you just have a stuffed chicken breast?
Yeah.
So nothing with it. So it would be good to see some carbs. So some of those things, you've opted for things where there may be slightly, like cheese, for instance, higher in calories because it's made up of a fat, so it's naturally going to be higher in calories. So for instance, if we look at that cheese, 156 calories, that could have been a nice portion of potatoes, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, so then you still feel like, because again, carbs are not the enemy. What did you close out on? Yeah, so your carbs were a little bit low, weren't they?
Yeah.
Whereas your fats were, well, they're not bad. That protein's high. But again, I would like to see that kind of final dish where you also, because that wrap, and what else have you had that's a carb?
Not a lot.
Not really anything, just the granola and the wrap. So yeah, it'd be good to see a little bit more carbs go into your diet, because again, like they are our energy source. Like how is your energy? Does this kind of look like a typical day for you, or
this is pretty much a typical day for me.
so do you have a fear around carbs, or is it?
It's not a fear. I don't feel like I digest carbs very well.
Okay.
So it just takes me. I feel quite sluggy after carbs and not very energetic, and I feel like I then don't want to move and go to the gym.
Is that like find carbs that are obviously like saturated carbs that make you feel like that. Like if I made you eat a donut, you're gonna feel like
Oh,
that.
God.
Versus if if I gave you some potatoes, would you feel that way after the potatoes still, or?
I don't, because I can't remember the last time I put potato in my mouth, in all honesty.
So I want you to put some potatoes in your mouth.
Okay, I can do that. I
So
can do that.
They're just really low calories. You get a lot of volume on your plate. So it's just about going, right, okay, I've got a bit of wiggle room here. Like play around with some of those things and
Okay.
try. And I would say for your last meal of the day, I definitely want to see some carbohydrates in there and maybe
Okay.
bringing down the fats a little bit, bringing up
Mm,
the carbohydrates a little bit. And like I say, just 100 grams of potatoes, see how you feel and just keep me in the loop about your digestion, how it is making you feel. It may
Okay.
well be if you cut them out for quite a long time that your body it's got to adapt, it's got to go
Yes.
through the process. But what I'd want to see is whole grain carbs rather
Okay.
than the saturated carbs.
Okay.
And that's, I think, definitely going to help out a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Does
That's
that help?
perfect. Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Right. Does anyone have any last questions? I'm conscious it's nearly 9 o'clock now, but I mean, it's been good. Where the bloody hell do I get back to Zoom? Oh, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing now. Shop. There you go. Does anybody have any other parting questions before we go? No? Right. Was that helpful? Yeah, good. I'm glad it was helpful. I think what we'll do as well is do that every so often. So then if anyone wants to go through their nutrition log or anything like that, if we didn't obviously get time to do it today, then that's something that we can do maybe every month or something on one of these, just so for anyone that wants to get a chance and didn't get a chance tonight, then we can obviously still do that. But yeah, hopefully you all learned from each other's anyway and got kind of the main points. But yeah, appreciate you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will be snooping on you all on Wednesday. Peace out, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Ash. Take care.